Ambient static crackles faintly, building to a low hum of radio waves. The voice is deep, gravelly, weary yet defiant. A man's voice, echoing from a forgotten era, laced with the weight of isolation. In the hollowed heart of a city that once pulsed with life, where skyscrapers now stand like broken teeth against a bruised sky, one man clings to the airwaves. His name is Jax, or at least that's what he calls himself now, a shadow of the engineer who once fixed circuits for the masses. The world ended not with a bang, but with a whisper. A virus that turned neighbors into nightmares, flesh into hunger. It's been months since the last real voice answered his call, but Jax broadcasts anyway, from a rooftop fortress perched on the skeleton of the old Empire Tower. His signal cuts through the fog like a lifeline, a desperate Morse code of hope. This is Jax on frequency 88.7, the last light in the blackout. If you're out there, alive and breathing, come in. Tell me I'm not alone. He doesn't know it yet, but they're listening. Not the survivors he dreams of, huddled in bunkers with canned goods and flickering lanterns, but the things that slither from the cracks in the pavement. The undead, rotting husks with eyes like polished obsidian, drawn to the hum of his transmitter like moths to a porch light. They shuffle through alleyways choked with overturned buses and skeletal billboards, their steps a mockery of the living, jerky and insatiable. One pauses under a flickering street lamp, head tilting as if catching a whisper on the breeze. In its gnarled fist, clutched like a talisman, dangles a shattered walkie-talkie, antenna bent but alive with faint static. Jax's voice leaks out tinny and distorted. Food drops at the old mill, coordinates 40.7 north. The creature doesn't understand words, but the sound? That pulls at something primal, a buried echo of what it once was. More join it, a tide of decay swelling at the tower's base, their moans harmonizing with the city's endless dirge. Up in his shack, Jax paces like a caged wolf, the glow of vacuum tubes casting his scarred face in amber. He's fortified the place with chains and crates, a pistol holstered at his hip, machete leaning against the console like an old friend. A faded photo taped to the wall shows a woman and a boy, smiles frozen in time, their eyes accusing him of surviving without them. He leans into the mic, voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. Day 147. Power's holding, but the shadows are getting longer. Saw a movement last night. Could be nothing, could be everything. If you're hearing this, head north. There's a safe zone, they say. Lie or not, it's better than waiting. He doesn't mention the dreams that wake him sweating. Voices on the line, garbled pleas that end in wet gurgles. He tells himself it's interference, solar flares messing with the ionosphere. But deep down, in the pit of his gut, doubt festers like an open wound. Then it comes. The swarm. They don't knock, they claw. The first breaches the lobby, splintering wood and glass with fingers like rusted rebar, its jaw unhinging in a silent scream. Up the stairs they climb, a grotesque parade, bodies piling in the stairwell like driftwood after a storm. Jax spots them through binoculars, a sea of gray flesh lapping at his sanctuary. Holy hell, he mutters off mic, heart hammering as he grabs the flare gun. A crimson burst arcs into the night, painting the horde in hellfire, revealing hundreds more slinking from the fog. Panic surges, but so does the fire in his veins, the same that kept him wiring this rig when the grid failed. He barricades the hatch, drags crates across the threshold, sweat stinging his eyes. The building groans under their weight, fire escape buckling like paper. They breach the vents first, one tumbling out in a tangle of limbs and rot, lunging with teeth like broken glass. He swings wild, blade biting deep, black ichor spraying across dials and wires. Sparks fly as it thrashes, console sparking in protest, but he doesn't stop, drives the heel of his boot into its skull until it stills. More pour in, scaling walls with unnatural grip, nails gouging concrete. He fires through the window, each shot a thunderclap, bodies plummeting like felled trees. Ammo runs low. He improvises, rigging wires to the propane tank scavenged from the HVAC. Not today, he growls, slamming the detonator. The blast is biblical, fireballs erupting, undead cartwheeling into the abyss. The rooftop edge is an inferno ledge. Limbs rain down, the air thick with acrid smoke and the copper tang of spilled decay. As the sun claws over the horizon, painting the wreckage in reluctant gold, Jax slumps against the singed wall, machete loose in his grip. Bandages bind the gashes on his arms, red blooming through white like accusations. Below, the horde thins, retreating into the labyrinth of ruins, their pull severed by the dying signal. His radio coughs back to life, a burst of clarity amid the static, a voice, human, faint, but real. "Jax, this is Elena, North Quadrant, we're coming." He stares at the horizon where a figure stumbles from the mist, rifle slung over a shoulder, waving. Not a trick of the light, not another echo. For the first time in 147 days, the airwaves carry promise, not just pleas. In a dead city, one broadcast endures, not as a dirge, but a dawn.